thank you for tuning in to episode 20 of the Syracuse Sport Business Conference Digital Series. My name is Isaiah Friedman. I'm the VP of Communications here at the SSBC, and I will be moderating this episode. I am thrilled to have Katie Austin join us today. She is a current sports and fitness host and social media creator. Katie is a graduate of the University of Southern California and has a bachelor's degree in communication and media studies. She's the author of Love Your Body, Love Your Life, 28 Days to a More Beautiful You. She's previously worked as an NBA Summer League reporter for the NBA Summer League and as a co-host for Fox Sports West. Katie, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Let's get to it. So I'd love to hear about, you went to USC. How was your time as a student athlete there? And when did you eventually decide you wanted to go in the direction you're in now?
For sure. Yeah. So a little background of me. I grew up in Alexandria, Virginia, and I played lacrosse my entire life. I was a Division I athlete. I played lacrosse at USC. So being an athlete was definitely really, really hard to think about a career and what you really want to do in life and have a passion outside of your sport. I know if any athletes are listening to this, you probably agree with me. You spend like 6 to 7 hours every day focusing on your sport, whether that's working out, training, or even like tutoring or meeting with your coaches or something always going on with your sport. And so it was really hard to think about a career, even though I knew what I wanted to do. I went to USC because I knew I wanted to be a sports host. I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. And so I was really having a hard time battling between what I knew I wanted to do and playing lacrosse at the same time. So I actually moved on from lacrosse. And my junior year, I got a sports hosting show at USC. So I co-hosted the show for 2.5 years at USC, in sports show. And I just fell in love with it. I was interviewing USC athletes, and then I turned one of the Wednesday segments into a wellness segment. And so for 10 minutes every Wednesday, it was a local station that actually went out to 80,000 people in the downtown Los Angeles area. So it was super real. I was audio girl for a while. I had those roles, that I obviously didn't really love, but you have to go through those kinds of jobs and roles, at the lower level to really prove yourself. And so I did that, and I kind of found a love for, both my athletic background, which is of course lacrosse, and hosting at the same time. So kind of combining the two. I grew up also a lot in the NBA world. And so I love basketball always. And I started interviewing a lot of basketball players, and it kind of just, it really came about because of social media. I'm very thankful for it because I just started posting online. And after I graduated, one of the producers who was, about 4 years older than me at USC, he had graduated. He found out that I was the sports host of the show there, and he always loves young talent. And so basically he came to me and wanted, to interview me for a Fox Sports West show. And I got the job, and that kind of started my sports job and my sports background.
I love that. And okay, so you said you'd interviewed players at an early age. Who was the first basketball, football player you'd ever interviewed?
Oh man, the first? I don't know. I've interviewed a lot of people though. I've interviewed Giannis. I've interviewed Stephen Curry. I've interviewed Odell Beckham. He's one of my favorites. I did a dance with him. I threw a football with Drew Brees for Verizon Bit. I've interviewed some really cool people, and every single person has just been so nice and so athletes, I just absolutely love working with them. They're so fun. They're so entertaining, and it's really fun to watch games after you interview someone.
Yeah.
So I really, really loved that too. I did the NBA awards. That was probably my favorite thing. I did live hosting on the carpet NBA awards last summer.
I don't think it gets much better than that.
It was so cool. I got to interview Giannis as he just won MVP.
Oh, well, what was his best response to a question you asked him?
Oh man. I asked him, so it was I don't know, it was right when TikTok was starting. So I asked him to do his best TikTok whoa, and he did it. He was really funny. Obviously he was really happy because, he was going to win MVP, but yeah, I like to have the types of questions that aren't very hard hitting. They're more fun, that really show the player's personality. I know at NBA Summer League with you, I think you were the one with me. I was dancing with, what was his name? John. He's on the Hawks.
John Collins, maybe.
John Collins. Remember you filmed it and you're doing a dance?
Of course, in the hallway.
So I like to dance and have fun with it and really show the player's personality.
And I think it's very obvious people watching this, Katie loves sports, but I want to know, I'm fascinated with, nature, nurture. Your family's very entrenched in music, sports, entertainment industry. Did that have an influence on you too?
Oh, by far. I think, I don't know if I would be who I was with my passion if it weren't for my parents. My dad was a professional tennis player and he represents NBA players. And so he represents like everyone from Stephen Curry. And I mean, he has so many different clients. And so I really grew up in the NBA world and like really, around NBA players all the time. And so as an agent, learning from him, not only the sports world, but also the business side of it, which was really cool. I got to see all the deals go on. And that's kind of really how I learned to build my business as well when it came time to, be an entrepreneur. And then my mom had her own TV show for 24 years. So my mom hosted a show on ESPN for 10 years and then for Lifetime for 14. And so really growing up with, my parents so strong into hosting sports fitness, it really, I think just since I was little instilled in me to not only be a hard worker, but at the same time instilled in me my passions today.
I love that. And I think it's so important when you're passionate about it, but not only that, your parents can help you too and are supportive. And I want to know, even though you did have that background, how was it starting out initially? Because I'm sure the brand deals and the followers you have now, those were not instant at all.
No. And no one really knows this, but I did not make money. I had like 100K on Instagram. And I think like, if you see an influencer online and they're posting a brand and they have, 50K to 100K, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, they're making money off of that. I never made money until literally like 2 years ago. It took a very long time to grow in a sense that I would actually monetize online. And I'm very grateful for having Instagram and it being very well business wise and making money off sponsored posts, but it was not always that way. I had to really hustle for my first brand deals. I would make an entire pitch deck on why brands would want to work with me, what I can provide for them. I made a deck of, all the brands that I have worked with, paid or not paid, because I think the biggest thing is other people don't know and other brands don't know if you're getting paid or not.
Yeah.
I think like, even for, an internship or working for NBA Summer League, like, all these things I would hustle for. I worked for overtime at the NBA Awards, not paid for that. I do workouts every Monday on Sports Illustrated Swimsuit at 8:30 a.m. For 8 months. I've been doing that. Haven't been paid a penny.
Wow.
And I do those types of things for exposure. And so it's really hard, and it's really hard on your ego sometimes when you don't get paid for things, when you put a lot of effort in, but it's worth it because you have to grow your business and your brand. So for me, I had side hustles to be able to obviously live in Los Angeles. You have to have like
Yeah.
money. And so I had like weird side jobs. I ran like other people's social media accounts. Like I had like a gym as a client and I would have to post for them on social media just so I could make money, because I would be posting muscle milk and not really making that much money whatsoever on my own. So you have to have patience with it, but it will come. And I think if you're passionate about what you are doing, you can make money off of it. And I truly do believe that.
I love it. And I think you answered this question. I wanted to know, as you get bigger and bigger, you've clearly done your own deals. Do you ever want to get an agent or something? How big time would that be?
I mean, that would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. I would love an agent. But I think the coolest part about, especially with you guys, Gen Z, is you can build everything on your own. It is so cool how much that, you can do within your own network, your own connections, online, digitally, emailing people, searching and stalking LinkedIn for business and jobs. And I mean, you especially, I know, like, reach out and go, full force with your network, especially if that's the most important thing. Some people think getting an agent, is like, okay, I'm out of college, I need an agent, or like you're still in college. You don't. I've built everything on my own because you can definitely hustle by yourself without anyone bringing those jobs to you. You have to be proactive about something, and no agent will want to work with you unless you yourself are proactive. So if you have to envision what you want and manifest it, no one's just going to hand you the deals.
That's great advice. And I want to know, as you're slowly building up, what have you found to be the most effective ways to build your follower base in an organic way?
To build my follower base, well, two things for working with a brand
Mhm.
is being good to work with. If you are a good person, You would really be surprised how many horrific humans there are in the world and in the industry. So if you're just a good person, people want to work with you and want to do things with you. To grow a following, I always say share shareable content. So what kind of content will other people your age want to see? What will someone tag their friend in? What will someone, want to post on their own stories to repost it? So think about what other people are going to reshare, and then always collaborations always really help. So collaborating with anyone a little bit bigger than you or the same size, reaching out to as many people, and don't be afraid to like DM people to like
Yeah.
collaborate with them, because you have absolutely nothing to lose by asking. If you just ask someone, and be really, really nice about it, hey, you want to do this video together? Hey, do you want to collaborate on this project? If they say no, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Exactly.
Cool, on to the next. It doesn't matter. So that, and then honestly, creating consistent content. I probably put out at least 10 pieces of content every day. So today I've already made like 2 Instagrams. I'm about to post like 6 stories. I've already made 2 TikToks, Snapchat. So like being consistent is so key to it, because people want to keep coming back. Why would they keep coming back to your page? If you are silent for a month, people are going to like get over you. And that's just the cold nature of social media.
That's such a good point. And I want to know, how are you able to use social media and slowly but surely use it to uplift your audience, which is specifically younger women?
I think that's the coolest part about my job, is the fact that my industry is so rewarding. And I don't think a lot of other industries can really say the same, because I can not only help people get in shape, but also, have them feel their best selves. And I mean, like we were talking before, especially everyone's on social media right now, and
Yeah.
our self-esteem can be so low because all we're doing is stalking other people on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, and it can be so bad for our self-esteem. And so to really teach girls that that just to be the best version of themselves is so important. And I feel like my entire brand has always been like to get fit and to work out, because it will make you a more confident person. It'll make you feel better. If you like look through all my stuff, I will never say like anything about losing weight or like getting a 6-pack or anything like that, because I mean, I don't have a 6-pack. I'm not trying to like lose 10 pounds, you know what I mean? And so like, obviously I've struggled with my weight before, but I know how I feel when I work out, and that's why I work out. So I think there's like a difference, switching the mindset of why fitness is great for us.
That's another very good point. And I think it's so important that, I mean, so many people, doesn't matter your gender, age, they're looking at social media and they're comparing themselves to these people. And you know this more than anyone, that most of the time it's not realistic. You have airbrush, you have everything. So you have to make them know that these people shouldn't be put on pedestals.
Not at all. And that goes for any business you're in. Stay and focus on yourself. You are on your own path, and you don't need to compare your path with anyone else's. You are, you're writing your own book. And so someone else's, I'm sure you guys have heard that cliche quote, like someone else's chapter 10 is like, doesn't compare to your chapter 10. It's like, might be your chapter 1. And I would just say you guys are just so young, and just to try new things, do risky different things, and don't compare yourself to someone in your own class, or don't compare yourself to anyone who is, in even 24, 25 years old, or like me in their later 20s. I'm 27 now, which is crazy. I just turned 27. Don't compare yourself, because you guys have so much time. I would utilize how young you guys are to your advantage for sure.
I think, I mean, aging, I know my cousin, when she went from 29 to 30, she was like, oh, let's call it just 29 times 2. I'm like, no, you're 30.
Yeah, yeah. I just turned 27 though. It's like it's like different. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm older 20s now. I'm old. I'm so
No,
old.
it's like an NBA player. People call like even Steph Curry now 32 old for the NBA. It's
I
just
know,
the NBA. You're 32. Like that's not even half your life.
I know. And I have to like, that's the other thing. It's like, I compare, and I'm just going to be totally transparent with you guys. Like, I can say, like, don't compare yourself to others. But even someone like me, it's like, okay, wait a second. I've been doing social media now for 6 years, and I just hit today 500,000 on TikTok. And then there's other, 17-year-olds who are hitting 20 million within a month. Don't compare yourself, because it will just actually like rip you of all your happiness. And if you are on your own path and you are so happy with what you are doing, focusing on yourself is so important, not only in life, but in also growing a business as well.
That's such good advice, especially for our viewers. I mean, me personally, Instagram, I only re-downloaded it today to post that we were doing the show. I mean,
Oh,
but I want to talk a bit more about your path. We touched on Summer League and Fox Sports. Tell me about those experiences.
They were awesome. They were such great experiences, and I'm so grateful that I got to, especially be in Los Angeles, co-hosting a show on Fox Sports West every Tuesday and Friday. It was like a prep zone show, so it wasn't as cool as it sounds. I will say that. People listening, they're like, "Oh, whoa, cool." Oh, no, 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 no. It was a down and dirty job. I had to wear a blue polo. I had a uniform. I had to drive 2 hours away to interview a high school football player for 30 seconds. Like, that was my job. It was not glamorous. And I think that's the main takeaway about these jobs. Like, working summer league is so awesome. It is like so high paced. It is so intimidating, and it puts you out of your comfort zone. But Isaiah, it is not glamorous. That is a hard job. You have to be willing to put in that work so hard, because someone else will do it, and they will do it just as hard as you. So I
Yeah.
think being grateful is like a huge part of it. Being grateful for your opportunities, but at the same time, putting in 110% of the effort, even if you're not making any money, is really, really big as well. I mean, those jobs are not glamorous. They're really cool to say, but at the same, and they're great resume holders. But at the same time, did I love doing them? Absolutely not. That's just I'm saying it right now, and
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people. No offense, not to be trying to like be harsh here. I think that's what a lot of people, like younger people, have to realize sometimes is like, you're not going to love every job that you do,
Hmm.
but if you do jobs that you hate, you'll get to where you want to be.
And
I don't
that,
know if that's good advice or horrible advice, by the way.
no, I personally think it's good advice, but I want to know, in recent years, and of course, COVID's accelerated this, you are placing more and more focus on your health and wellness brand, and for good reason. I mean, that's, I assume, your primary source of income now. How was that transition? Like, how did it go for you from more journalism stuff, NBA Summer League, and are you open to doing that stuff in the future still?
Absolutely. I mean, my background, I graduated from USC in sports broadcasting. So I have a passion for hosting and in sports, of course, but my last job in sports hosting was hosting NFL Pro Bowl in January. That is literally my last job that I had. And I had so many
Great.
cool jobs lined up over the summer. Obviously, it couldn't happen. And a lot of things have switched in the sports industry just because you can't have access to interviewing players anymore, which was my entire job at some of these media companies. And so it's been kind of hard, but at the same time, again, like very grateful that it's really made me focus more on my social media content. So now, whether that's, getting really consistent content on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, newsletter, blog, my app. I have my own fitness app now too. So
Yeah.
I've been really able to focus on in-home fitness, which has been the core of my brand for 6 years. But at the same time, it's really heightened during quarantine. Like, no one can go to gyms anymore,
Yeah.
and so it's been really cool to watch so many more girls download my app for sure.
That's great. And what's the app? Because we're very
It's
pro
just called
plug
Katie
here.
Austin. It's just the Katie Austin app. I have over 150 in-home workouts on demand, like workout classes. All you do is like press play, you follow along. So if you're looking for, a workout to do in the comfort of your own home, you only need 5 feet of space. A lot of them are body weight. I have everything from like dance, hit workouts, kickboxing, booty, abs. Not gonna lie, it is a little bit female based. I have 100% women on my app. So any guys out there, you are so welcome to come on the Katie Austin app. But I just would say that right now.
No, it's everyone has to have their places of focus, and of course everyone's welcome. I want to know, can you speak on the different aspects of health and wellness that you work on? and how the people just respond to that.
Totally. I mean, as I said earlier, the health and wellness industry is so rewarding because you can actually help someone and you can connect to so many different people. And I think that's been the coolest part about quarantine is being able to teach a workout class for 600 people, which has been like, every Monday I do a workout class and hey, there are 400 people. I mean, the beginning of quarantine, I had 1,500 people per workout.
Wow.
So to be able to connect with that many people, and I think the health and wellness industry does best when it's community based. And so that's why I created a new page called Katie's Community. And so girls can like really interact with each other doing my workouts and uplift each other because I think fitness is all about accountability and having someone there to work out with you and to kind of motivate you as well. So it's been really cool. And, also in health and wellness space, kind of like as a side job, I have invested in a bunch of different companies, like health and wellness companies.
Cool.
So I have like protein bites. I have like a healthy Gatorade company. I have a skincare line. I'm an investor of a gym here in Los Angeles with like Kevin Hart and Russell Westbrook, which has been cool. So at the same time, not only content creating, but also being an investor and like a board member and a council person like to consult with. So it's been cool.
Yeah, and that differentiates you from just a workout guru. And I want to know, you're very open as not just that, but a content creator. And I think that's pretty admirable, letting so many people know about your life. How do you deal with the inevitable backlash that all creators get, specifically as a woman in the industry?
Funny you say that. I just got a really mean one today, like
Oh
a
God.
horrible comment. And I get horrible comments honestly every day, and you just can't let it get to you because these people don't know you personally at all. I'd say for me, my biggest like hater comment is always like, "You'll never be your mother," like "Stop trying," or anything like that along the lines of like, "You were just following in your mom's footsteps. You're using your mom," and like I want people to know that like I've never taken a penny from my parents. I've built everything, with hard work and my own drive, which is so important to me because I want to make a name for myself. So being compared to my mom really doesn't bother me because I know we're so different. She had like her own TV show, VHSs, DVDs, and now it's all online. Like I'm like biggest on Snapchat, which is like, wait,
Yeah.
25 years ago, like there's no such thing. So you can't even compare the two almost. They're just very, very different. And so honestly, realizing, who I am down to the core and being very content with myself makes me very able to deal with the haters, and also surrounding myself with positive people and good
Yes.
quality people is really important. I don't have a lot of friends. I have quality of friends.
Quality over quantity, of course. And going back to the mean comments, if it's not constructive criticism, it's usually something ridiculous. And I'm sure you know this. You just have to realize these people that are saying this stuff, sometimes they're a bot. They don't really they're miserable with their own lives. So they take it out on people
Oh,
that they're
totally.
jealous
It's
of.
all about them. It's nothing to do with you. So remembering that for sure. So yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. And I want to go back to now that you're working more with your own content, but not as much with the players in the co host reporter role. I see, have you started to use those connections in your own brand now since you can't be going to these events to interview them?
Love that question. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, I have a very large network of athletes that I know. My dad runs an agency called Octagon and has a lot of clients. And then just in terms of my own friends, I went to school with like Juju Smith-Schuster, Sam Darnold, and all those guys. But like, I am so careful about using my connections. I'm not the type of person to really ask for a favor. I don't think I ever could. I don't know. It's just like I can't get myself to ask someone for a favor because I think your connections and your asks in life are so limited.
Yeah.
And it is okay to ask for help or ask for a favor for sure, but don't overuse your favors. Like if you have someone who could help you, I'm sure that person wants to help for sure. But really be careful with your network because you can only ask so many things.
Well said. And I think a great analogy to that is if you ever look at LinkedIn, you'll see some people will recommend 50 other people. It holds no weight if you're just throwing these out like candy.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. A couple more questions before we get to our Q&A segment. I want to know, what are some of the networking successes that you've had in the industry? And is there anyone in particular, maybe a mentor, who helped you throughout your career?
Totally. I think the best networking stories is been putting myself in the most uncomfortable situations and events and phone calls that I was dreading. The best networking has come out of things that I went alone to or just made a leap of faith or risked something out of because you have nothing to lose. I think one of the best success stories that I have and that first comes to mind is I went to this Under Armour event and I went alone and I was like so nervous because I don't know, going to an event alone in LA, like
Yeah.
it's a little iffy. And people, aren't the nicest overall in LA sometimes. Anyways, I went to this event and Carrie Champion was hosting it. And she was on stage and I was alone, like just like sipping water or something, eating the cheese board or something by myself. And she's walking off stage and all of a sudden she's like right next to me and she's like on her phone, like reading her script, like the one she has to go through next. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm alone. She's alone. She's just like on her phone right now. And I literally just like had 30 seconds to decide if I was gonna like, or not even like 3 seconds to decide if I was gonna go up to her or not. And I was just like, in my brain, I was like, dude, do it now. I just beeline without even thinking. And I was like, hi, I just want to say, like, you are such, like, I love you so much. You are a legend to me. Like, I learned so much from you on Sports Center. I love you so much. I am also a sports host, follow up. She was like, what's your number? And I was like, what? She's like, what's your number? I'm going to have you come into Sports Center. You can shadow me. So I literally shadowed her that Friday. Less than like a week later, I went to Sports Center. I got to see everyone. I got to meet everyone at ESPN. She introduced me to everyone. I mean, just like an insane, I don't know, an insane like thought in my mind because all that happened was I took that risk and I told someone that I appreciated them and I looked up to them and you have nothing to lose from there. And usually if you tell someone you look up to them, they will treat you, with respect back.
That is an awesome success story. I'm so
Yeah.
happy to hear that. But I do
She's
want to, yeah,
He's so great.
oh, of course. I want to turn the tables a bit. What's one mistake you've made in your career and how did you learn from it?
Ooh, I've made a lot of mistakes. And again, you guys have probably heard over and over, you need failure to launch like whatever and like learn from your failures. And it's actually very true. I would say my biggest thing, if you're going to make a failure, make it young. So right now, do risks, try to fail because you're going to learn from those failures. For me, it was I just graduated college and I saved up because I taught workout classes and I saved up money to build my own app. And I hired a student to do it for like so cheap, but it was all I had in my bank account. And he was horrible, literally horrible. I never got my money back or anything. And he made the worst app you've ever seen. And so I'm really glad that I did that because then I found like better app developers, what I was really looking for. And it was great because I wasn't ready for an app yet. My brand was not there yet. So it was good in terms of like realizing and kind of reevaluating where I want my app and my career to go, if that makes sense. I'd say that's my biggest failure.
Yeah, of course. I think it's so important. I mean, all of our guests, they've gotten so high in their respective fields, but we definitely think that kids need to hear about the mistakes because it humanizes you guys. It shows that everyone's the same. We all make mistakes. Just, try not to screw up too bad.
Totally. And sometimes it's not even about mistakes. Sometimes it's nothing that you can do. I have gotten no for so many jobs. You have no idea. If I got a no for every single job I auditioned for, I mean, my first 2 years I was out of school, I auditioned like 5 times a week for jobs. It only takes one hit. That's what you have to remember. Like it takes one person to say yes. And I remember that Lady Gaga thing is, oh, there's gonna be 100 people in the room and only one person.
What?
That's literally what I just sounded like. But literally it's so true because you only need one yes, you only need one agent, you only need one TV show, one person from a media network. I worked on a show for 3 years and with my mom, and it was greenlit to E News, like the show, and like
Of
I
course.
was filmed for 3 years, and it was like at the last second they tore it off and they scratched everything and they didn't literally give us one penny. I wasted like 3 years of my life, I felt like. But at the same time, like there was nothing I could do. So sometimes realizing you're just not the right fit for the job, and that there's going to be other jobs out there for you is so important.
Again, fantastic advice. I do want to ask the question bluntly though, before we move on to Q&A. Do you have any specific advice for young students breaking into the sports industry, specifically as an entrepreneur or social media influence?
Totally. I would say do the work. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to come and serve your dream job on a silver platter. You have to put in the work. You have to reach out to as many people as possible. Send your resume around. Do work for free, because unfortunately, everyone in the sports world starts out doing work for free.
Yeah.
And try new risks, network with as many people as possible, ask anyone in the sports world if they need help, intern for them. And also, if you see someone in the sports world where you think you could get help from, ask someone to be your mentor, because, like I would love to be a mentor to someone, because I saw how much like Darren Ravel and like Carrie Champion, like what small little things they did to help me. And I would love to help the next person in line. And so don't be afraid to ask. Go out there, get after it, I would say. And I just emailed at least 15 people a day, I
Do
would
you
say.
check your DMs so kids can go out and reach out to you?
I don't really check my DMs that often.
That's
But
smart. You shouldn't do
email.
that. What's
Email.
up? Okay, we got that. All right, let's go to the Q&A portion before we head out here. Got a pretty good amount of good questions.
Oh,
This one is from Alex Guo. How are you able to maintain such a positive attitude in your field, and how do you think it reflects to your younger female audience?
wow. What a great question. I will say I am naturally very positive. So I will be transparent about that. I'm a very happy person. And I mean, obviously I have sad days, and obviously I have those days where it's just, I don't feel my best. And those types of days, you do need to take an off day, take a self-care day. But I remain positive because I actually have so much passion for what I do. I love my job. I love what I do. I love my friends. I love my family. And I think it's just really practicing gratitude, being grateful for everything that you have and not always constantly looking at what you don't have.
That's huge. I mean, just being grateful in general, that can be applied anywhere. Another question from Anna. How are you able to differentiate yourself or your product when there is a large market for fitness on social media?
Whew, that is a hard one. And I get this question every talk I do. And I
Yeah.
have the same answer every single time because I have nothing else besides this. I am fully myself online. And so I think my personality sets me apart, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. It is very, very hard. But I will tell you this, there is room for every single person out there. I always look, I mean, you guys are younger than 21, some of you, but I always look like when I'm buying red wine, say, um, alcohol, always with alcohol. If you're buying red wine, there are so many different versions of red wine. And how can every single company of red wine succeed? They all can. There's room for every single person on the shelf. There's room for every single person in the industry. And I truly do believe that. Obviously, always approach everything with a competitive mindset, but you are you, and that is your power. And I think that's what sets me apart, is just like being myself and being authentic.
Yes, I agree with that. Next question. What is the biggest thing you've learned from having your brand majorly on social media, and how have you utilized that to maximize your engagement? From Jimmy.
Ooh, can you say that again?
Yeah, of course. What is the biggest thing you've learned from having your brand majorly on social media, and how have you utilized that to maximize your engagement?
Okay, the first thing that comes to mind is that people are very sensitive, and you have to be very careful about sometimes what you post. I love to be vulnerable and show everything about me online, and that's going to come with backlash, and you just kind of have to be open to that. Um, I mean, I also will say, anyone out there who's looking to get in social media, I think there's a lot more money in it than you think there is. And I'll say that
Yeah.
because, you could look at other influencers and you just don't know how much money someone's making, but realize how much money and how much power you can have. And again, the word influence, but realizing how much influence you actually can have in a person's real life situations. And not only, yeah, so not only money, but like also real influence.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, of course, influence is important, but people need to live. So, of
Totally.
course. Three more questions, then we'll get out of here. This is an interesting one because we talked about weaknesses. What is one of your strengths that you now possess that used to be a weakness, and how did you turn that into a strength? That's from Ryan Hartevelt.
One more time. Wow, that was like a turnaround
I
question.
know it was tough to read. So basically, but I think it's interesting. What is one of your strengths now that used to be a weakness, and how did you turn that weakness into a strength?
Um, who I think it's honestly trying to do everything. And that's always been, it sounds like a strength, but it's actually a huge weakness of mine. I can't do everything. I cannot be the talent, the host, edit, customer service, build my app, be the back end, do like everything that I do. I have to have a little bit more of a focus. And so, I mean, you could see that as a strength for sure, but it's definitely one of my weaknesses. But I think in terms of social media, it's definitely a strength, because sometimes you do have to play all those roles. A lot of people will look at my Instagram and be like, cool, she does a workout video and puts it on Instagram and calls it a day. You have no idea how much behind the scenes work goes into being a content creator, being an investor, being a host, and running my own business. And I have my own app. I do everything, and so I think it's always been a weakness of mine trying to do it all, but it's actually a strength, because I think you can't be a content creator unless you can do it all.
I respect the honesty, and I think that transitions very well into our next question. As a fitness influencer, your favorite word, your brand is very closely connected to your personality. How do you choose which companies and, I mean, I guess also people to work with and align yourself with? That's from Danielle Parr.
Love that. If it won't authentically fit into my personal life and personal brand, then I will not do it. Like today, I'm posting a skincare, and I always have to try the skincare before I actually post it myself. And thank goodness it's a skincare brand that I've like already loved for absolutely years. But I would say I have turned down so many brand deals
Good.
worth so much money. Like one of them, I don't know if you guys have heard of like M Sculpt, where it's like it like burns fat off you or something. They offered me 15,000 for an Instagram post, and I was like, that hurts, but I can't do it because I don't do that. I would never do anything to my body. You know what I mean? And so like
Yeah.
sometimes it's not about the money, or like those like detox teas. They offer me so much money, and it's like I can't outsell myself. You always have to look in the long run of things and like the long term of your brand and like who you actually are, because if you sell out just one brand,
Yeah.
you will lose their loyalty.
That's another good point. And specifically with people, I don't want you to out anyone, but I'm sure there have been some folks who wanted to collaborate. What goes into that decision making process?
I love that you asked that, because there is this there's this one girl who like really wants to collab. This
Okay.
sounds so horrible, but she has like 2 million followers on Instagram, and I literally will say I said no to her because if you see her page, she has a fake butt. And I'm like, bruh, there's nothing wrong with that. Do you? But I'm not going to do a booty workout with you because like that is just lying to my followers. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, you have to protect yourself at all costs. Like, you sometimes you just have to be selfish. And I know that sounds crazy, but like, you have to protect yourself and know who isn't okay to work with, because once you go there, it's hard to come back.
No, that's I think that's one of your best quotes, like protect yourself. It's true. You have to. I mean, it's tough out there. Last question. Wow, I can't believe we're already done. This is from Ben Alon, who is the president of the Syracuse Sport Business Conference. He wants to know, what was the transition like when you realized your content reached such a huge audience worldwide, and how has your life changed knowing you could be in public and people will recognize you?
Oh my gosh, that's a really sweet one. Honestly, like it's been really, really recent, where people like have like recognized me. Like I was in San Diego last weekend and I was going to the bathroom and I was just like in line and someone's like, "Oh my God, are you Katie Austin?" And I'm literally like, what is like what's going on? It like catches me off guard. It's only happened like a handful of times, but when it does, I have this like pinch me moment where I'm like, oh my God, I'm like actually impacting people's lives, and people actually follow me and actually do my workouts. Sometimes it's like so crazy to think about. And I just think I don't know, I just think it's so cool how obviously social media can be so toxic for us, but if you do it the right way, how many people you can actually reach in a really great way. No matter where someone lives, if they live across the world, if they live two houses down, you can impact them online. And I think that's like the coolest part about digital.
That is the power. Anyone. It really doesn't matter anymore. Katie, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you giving us your time.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and I miss you. And thank you to everyone for having me and for listening to me for 40 minutes now. I really appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you, Katie. We'll talk soon. Have a good one.